Am I the asshole for telling my parents that I resent their terrible financial decisions? I, 31F, have been living out of home since I was 18. I left uni with a mid-size amount of debt, but I've managed to pay it off and also save £8,000 over the last 10 years. I have scrimped and saved to get to this point. My parents are good people and I love them, but they have made some terrible financial decisions over the years. When my grandmother died, her house was sold and my parents received about £90,000. They treated my brother and I to an amazing Christmas and a lovely holiday. They also renovated parts of our family home. After all this, they still had about £50,000 left and, by their own admission, frittered away the remaining money, rather than saving it. By the time I started uni 2 years later, I was told that I would need to take out student loans to pay for my fees. 8 years ago, they told us that they were going to sell the family home and downsize to a flat. They managed to sell the house quickly and received about £250,000 for it. But there was nothing on the property market that they liked, so they decided to rent for a while until they found something they did. Within 3 years, all of the money was gone. Again, frittered away with nothing to show for it. Now they are in their 60s and renting for the foreseeable future with only a small pension each. My dad will be forced to retire next year and they can't afford their current rent without his salary. They have asked me for loans multiple times, just to tide them over until payday. They do always repay the loans to me, but I've started feeling resentful of giving them money at all. My partner and I are trying to buy a flat, and all of my friends who currently own property have received help from their parents with the deposit. Not only are my parents unable to help me with this, they actively borrow money from my savings on a regular basis. Earlier this week, we were having a family meal for my dad's birthday. My parents were asking my partner and I about our property situation, and asked if we would consider buying a 2-bedroom flat so that they could move in with us and not worry about rent. I laughed at first, thinking that they were joking, but then realized that they were serious. I told them that we wouldn't be doing that, as, A, we couldn't afford a 2-bedroom flat, and, B, even if we could, it's not my responsibility to house them. My dad argued that he and my mum have provided for me over the years, and now it's my turn to repay them. I told him that I have been virtually on my own since turning 18 and just because they made poor financial decisions over the years, I shouldn't have to foot the bill. I said that I resent the fact that they could have helped me with uni and maybe even a flat deposit, but instead they spent their way into a life of living hand to mouth. This did not go down well. Both of them erupted at me and called me ungrateful. My brother told me that I was being entitled. Even my partner said that I was overly harsh. Am I the asshole here? Not the asshole. Your language was harsh. But your parents misspent at least £300,000 according to your post. And now they expect to live for free off you for the next 30 or so years? No, stop lending them money immediately. Your parents need to learn to live within their albeit limited means. Not the asshole. And since they created you, they were on the hook for your expenses. They get no brownie points for doing the bare minimum. Info. If you're somewhere that uses pound, then why did you scrimp and save to pay off the student loan? Student loans in the UK are rarely worth paying off earlier than you have to. Obviously your circumstances might be different, which is why I ask. You seem bitter that they didn't help with your university costs or with a down payment, neither of which you are entitled to. They suck, because they did blow through a bunch of money and now they want to mooch off you. You all sound exhausting and entitled. Not the asshole at all. I totally understand the resentment. Thank goodness I can't relate to it. My father was always there to get me out of financial jams and I do the same for my children. Money should go downwards in a family. I feel pretty bad for your folks though. That would be humiliating to borrow money from your children. Am I the asshole for wanting to disrupt my wife's routine? Hello everyone, in a bit of a bind at the minute regarding the wife and some visitors. My wife, 31F, and I, 36M, have been married for 2 years now, and she has a very regimented wellness, mindfulness routine. She wakes up at 5 a.m., does yoga in the spare room, goes on a quick run and comes home to make a smoothie using one of those loud Nutri Ninja blenders and will get on with her day. She also meditates in there, journals and does other things that I can't disrupt her because it's her personal time. She was like this before I met her and was clear that if I wasn't on board with this aspect of her routine, she doesn't want to pursue anything with me. While I am not thrilled she has that whole room for herself, I did ask if I could put my PC in there so it's not in the dining room space. It was there before I moved in with her, so I made my peace with it. My sister is coming into town with her partner and young daughter, 6F. We both agreed on letting them stay with us to save money. My wife wants them to sleep in the living room because we have multiple comfortable sofas for them to sleep on. While there is enough room, I made my case for buying air mattresses for them and to set them up in my wife's spare room. I also asked her if she would part with her smoothie making at least until they wake up so they aren't disturbed in the morning. My wife is vehemently opposed to giving up her room and smoothies. She doesn't think the room will be comfortable for them, no carpets, and it's got huge windows and massive mirrors on one wall, and that I'm using this situation as a way to disrupt her routine I apparently hate. I'm not sure where she got that from since I've never asked her to change it. We're in a disagreement over where they should stay and my wife is threatening to not allow them to stay and have them get a hotel for the visit. Am I the asshole? I don't think giving up the room is that hard and ask for my family's comfort and it's only 3 days. ETA. Thank you for all the advice everyone. I am heading to bed now. I have decided not to push this issue any further with my wife and my sister and family can use the sofas or I will pay partly for a hotel for them. I do plan on asking my wife about her routine and can update if people would like me to. Final update. Wife was making a smoothie this morning and I approached her over her smoothie making to clear the air. I said that I was wrong to ask to use the room for them and my sister and family should sleep on the sofas and she was happy to let them stay. I also asked why she has the rigidity of her routine. We didn't get into all of it but it was a start. I know my wife had a difficult upbringing in her teenage years but did not link the two that her routine was born out of those circumstances. I will not be encroaching on her room anymore and someone commented I could add heating to my garage so I could place my gaming PC in there, which is a great plan. Thanks all. As someone who is currently in the throes of a deep dark depression, I feel like your wife's routine was possibly born out of absolute necessity, and that it may be the thing that keeps her functional. I would say that she was very clear to you as to how important her routine was, so I do think that you are the asshole for wanting her to change it. I do also understand that she may be seen as non-accommodating, but it was never a secret. Sometimes things that look selfish are more than what they seem from the outside. Can she at least make the smoothies the night before and keep them in the fridge? Using such a loud appliance that early in the morning when you have guests sleeping on the living room couch is just rude. YTA. It's her room and she doesn't want to give it up for guests. If your family wants privacy, they should shell out the money for a hotel. You are doing them a favor by offering them a place to stay to save money. Expecting your wife to rearrange her life as well is unreasonable. You are the asshole. That's not a spare room. That's your wife's sanctuary. She established that very early on, and you accepted her terms when you moved in. It's not up to you to offer it to guests. You are the asshole. Your wife has her life balanced and under control. Why you need to break it? Your sister using your wife house and should adjust for local schedule. I would explain to sister what here would be an early wake up and she should prepare for that. Am I the asshole for refusing to apologize for being a golden child? When I, 32 female, was very young, I was the golden child. I was the rainbow baby to parents who were in their 40s and struggled to conceive for many years. I was also born on Christmas Day, and for the first full year of my life I had medical problems. I spent my first weeks in an incubator and, several months later, was re-hospitalized for weeks because of an infection and a severe allergic reaction to antibiotics. All of this was really hard on my sister, 34 female. She struggled during those years to get the attention she needed and my parents' family doted on me because I was everyone's miracle baby. She developed some serious behavioral issues because of it, which my parents tried to address. However, to me, the course correction was extreme. We stopped celebrating my birthday altogether when I was around 9 or 10, because it was too hard for my sister to share Christmas with my birthday. From elementary school through high school, my parents never attended soccer games or school plays. They even missed my high school award ceremony where I won 2 awards. The reasons were usually things like, your sister has a therapy appointment, or, your sister isn't feeling well. When I graduated high school, everyone went out to my sister's favorite restaurant, that I didn't like, to celebrate that my sister was home for the occasion. Paring down for word count, but one more example. When my sis graduated college, my whole family had a blowout party and my wealthy cousins paid off her student loans as a graduation gift. When I graduated, no one even attended the ceremony except my mom and dad, even though I graduated with dual majors, a 4.0, and 4 academic awards. Recently, I was at a family gathering, and the conversation came around to children. My sister has 4 kids, whereas I'm childfree. My brother-in-law made a comment about how hard it is for the older siblings to adjust to the new kids, and my sister got really teary-eyed and emotional. She talked about how traumatic it was for her that I was born on Christmas and she had to miss that milestone with her parents and spend it with her aunt instead, and how hard it was to be the forgotten child, and to have a sibling that was obviously the favorite, and the golden child. My mom also got teary-eyed and apologized, saying she was so sorry for how hard it was for her, etc. Then my sister looked at me with this angry, disgusted look, and said something like, "And never expect the golden child to apologize for it." I honestly King lost it. I said, yelled, that my entire family has basically ignored my existence for my entire life and that I hated every single person in the room. Since my outburst, literally no one is on my side, and my parents think I'm being insensitive to what my sister went through. I'm conflicted because it genuinely was difficult for her during the first few years, but am I supposed to pay for that for the rest of my life? Am I the asshole here? Not the asshole, and just FYI. Your sister was clearly the golden child in your parents' eyes. She's the one that got the special treatment and that they bent over backwards to accommodate while ignoring your existence. She talked about how traumatic it was for her that I was born on Christmas and she had to miss that milestone with her parents and spend it with her aunt instead. She was 2 years old. She's been throwing a decades-long tantrum because her parents weren't around for a Christmas that she doesn't remember. I'm assuming by the time she was old enough to form childhood memories, your health issues had cleared up, and everyone started catering to the poor neglected toddler instead of the baby who was no longer going to die. There's a clear golden child here, and it's definitely not you. Not the asshole. Are you supposed to apologize for being born? Is that what they're all expecting here? Not the asshole. Your sister obviously lost a lot of crucial parenting time while you were unwell, but absolutely none of that is on you. I'm sorry you've suffered so badly since then, while the attention was lavished on the actual golden child. Missing Christmas when you are 2 isn't traumatic, she doesn't remember it, she remembers being told about it. My sister was born in Christmas Eve, my brother and I stayed with family friends. It was brilliant. You did nothing wrong. Not the asshole or the golden child anymore in my opinion.